Hi, folks. Welcome. Happy January 20th. Hope everybody is doing well. So I had an interesting experience this week where after playing this game on Friday, and it's now Wednesday, for entirely unrelated reasons, actually because I saw a meme on Twitter that I didn't understand, and so I was sort of looking up the reference. I stumbled into the fan wiki for Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it occurred to me that it might be relevant in some way to this game to have sort of a better understanding of the text in the genre of sort of, you know, kaiju fiction that this is sort of, you know, opened itself up to be. So anyway, point is, I watched all of Evangelion over the weekend, and turns out to be extremely relevant to this game, and completely recontextualizes this game, to the point where it's really required required viewing for this game. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm still grappling with the show, unsurprisingly. The various endings, the various endings of Evangelion are a lot to chew on. So I'm still figuring that out, but that's not the point of sort of connection to the game. I should look up the episode summaries, but I'm guessing that there is a very sort of specific point of connection, and it is a stretch of episodes that I would say is like the middle third of the anime, something like that, something between, you know, episodes 8 and 16. So that, and that's pretty straightforward. Like, that doesn't require a lot of processing. So we can talk about that. We can talk about this game. I want to talk a little bit about sort of the fact that I was unaware of the connection between these things, and what that means, and the sort of the fact that, like, there's coincidental that I managed to stumble on that now, and lucky, frankly, very lucky, that I can sort of still be playing this game, and we're gonna take a second look at it a little bit. I'm not gonna say that I loved the anime. There were things about it that I liked. Hubert in the chat making the point that the main character wasn't particularly likable. That does not get better throughout the series. And one of the things that I have trouble with that series, as I say, I'm sort of still processing it, is that the way that character gets handled progressively going forward is more than unlikable. I mean, it is deliberately sort of he becomes defined by his self-loathing in some, like, really unpleasant ways, in a very deliberate sort of attempt to make him less and less likable. So, you know, oh boy, that's interesting. Kyla saying, having only seen the last 2 episodes of the series and maybe the movie, that's an interesting slice to have seen. And I think does not give a is not a good representation of the rest of the series. Anyway, let me go back to Umurangi generation. For those of you who maybe are not entirely aware of the details of the Evangelion anime, it's a very kind of like Ender's Game story about these child military heroes who by necessity are drafted into a military complex that makes them into these sort of prodigy fighters. In Evangelion, they are the pilots of mechs that fight against giant monsters that are attacking the Earth called angels. The mechs that they fight in are the Evangelion. And they're all of the pilots are 14 years old, so they're all sort of in school, in middle school or high school. It's not totally clear. I'm not sure what the system looks like in Japan, but they are, they're school children who are doing this, who are also fighting monsters. And most of the show is about them fighting monsters, and sort of all of the drama surrounding their relationships with military personnel and stuff like that. But sometimes, occasionally, they go to school and they have classmates and friends of their own age who are not military geniuses or prodigy, mech pilots, who are more like normal people. And specifically, there are 3 peers that the main character has in their class, whose names I don't remember, but they are, 3 sort of relatively normal characters. One of them is like a jock. One of them is the sort of the class president, I think is her title. One of them is kind of a nerdy guy who whose shtick is that he takes pictures of everything. Like he's got a video camera, and he's recording stuff all the time. And at one point in the series, like he takes a bunch of pictures, and it's kind of a very minor plot point that he's got a camera and he's taking pictures of stuff. There's also a penguin, and the penguin is not specifically a part of that little trio, but the penguin is sort of the pet of the woman who the main characters live with, or kind of the roommate. Like the penguin is not a major character in the anime, but sort of just is around and doing his own thing. So you can see the connection that I started to make as I'm watching this with this game being about a photographer who's taking pictures and is part of a group of friends that is very similar in makeup to the sort of this group of 3 characters that I'm describing, plus a penguin. And obviously it's not like a one-to-one, because there's, one of the characters that I was describing is the photographer, but there's a clear connection between that group and the group that's kind of at the center of this game. So that really reframes what this game is in a significant way for me. Also, just as an aside, and because it's still relevant, watching this series after not only having never seen it before, but really being only kind of vaguely aware of the subject matter and the content of it. Like, I was aware of it as an anime, but not what it was really about or what it had in it. It's funny how much popular culture from the last 20 years kind of locked into place in a different way for me, realizing how much of it was directly referencing or in direct response to this this TV show that I had not seen. And I'm thinking, specifically of something like Pacific Rim, which kind of was my touchstone for this genre, this type of story of giant robots and giant monsters, and it works on its own as sort of a Western entry into that genre, but kind of changes pretty significantly, and not just changes, but like some of the decisions that were made about how to tell that story and the world building that sort of that movie does. All of that makes a different kind of sense when you realize that it is drafting off of and sort of in conversation with Evangelion. So anyway, one of the things that I found difficult about this game is that I didn't feel it felt like it was a environmental narrative game where you were engaging with the world through a camera in order to reveal sort of what is happening, the sort of interesting things that are going on in the world around you. And I'm realizing now that is not what this game is. This is a game that is about the people who lived through the events of the Evangelion anime, who weren't part of the military, who weren't prodigal, that's not the word that I want. I guess just prodigy mech pilots who were just sort of like normal people who were there and were living through those events. And that's a side of the world that the anime doesn't explore fully. It's very focused on these particular characters and the sort of the place that they occupy. So this is not about building a world. This is not a game about sort of revealing an emergent narrative. It's expected that you already are very familiar with the world, that it is already built. Because if you have watched Evangelion, you understand that this is that world. So a lot of the stuff that I was kind of frustrated about, that like it doesn't make sense. It's sort of giving us hints of things that are going on, but it's not clear sort of how those are connected or what's behind them. Those are not things that the game is interested in. The game sort of is making assumptions about those things. Reasonably, given that its intended audience is people who have watched Evangelion and are sort of responding to it in that context. So now I need to kind of go back and reinterpret everything that has happened. I've also been grappling with like, how did this happen? How did I have this experience? And I think that I think it's just kind of one of those things. I've gone back and forth on like, what should the game have done differently to give me proper context or and introduce me, and I'm not sure that there's anything it reasonably could have or should have done. For a little while I wanted an explicit like signal that hey, there is context that you might be missing, that you should be viewing this sort of with that context in mind. But it's the Penguin. I mean, it's clearly the Penguin. The Penguin is meant to be the sort of icon of, hey, we are making an Evangelion reference here. And I just didn't know enough about Evangelion to get that signal. Which, you know, we just played Elsinore. And Elsinore as a game is sort of a direct response to Hamlet and other Shakespearean writing. And if you're unfamiliar with Hamlet, if you're unfamiliar with Shakespeare, then that game is gonna hit different, right? Like you're gonna experience that differently, and the game doesn't really go out of its way to say, other than like, you know, this takes place at Elsinore and there's a character named Hamlet. If those things aren't enough for you to get what the game is doing, then there's nothing in the game that says, like, go read Hamlet first. I didn't have a problem with that. I think this is the same thing. I mean, I think Evangelion is a sort of present enough, like, cultural text that it's not unfair to assume that people would have enough of a recognition of it that they would understand the signal that's being sent with the Penguin, that like that is what you should refer to, that is the context of this. And I just didn't get it. So anyway, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna go back to I think the last level. So we played Contact was the firefight. Karangahake. This was the train, the subway. No, this was the subway. I don't remember what this one was. Okay, we're probably going to come back and look at these a little bit. Oh, that's right. This was the train car, and then this was the subway station with the Kiwi. Thank you very much. And then Invasion, I think, is the last chapter. So we're gonna start there. We're just gonna jump in, and then we might go back and revisit some of the other ones briefly, given the new context that I sort of have. All right. So what are our bounties? 15 candles and 4 boomboxes. 2 skateboards, 2 work lights, and 5 blocks. Interesting. 2 disposable cameras, 4 robots, 3 lanterns, 2 tires, and 4 pallets. $150. Okay, candle, boombox, skateboard, work lights, blocks, cameras, robots, lanterns, tires, and pallets. Well, let's look around. Is this the, this is back to the first level. I do like how it is reusing levels in very interesting ways. And I don't think I understood that was a giant wall in the way that I see now that it is. And those are fucking giant robots. Jesus. Okay. But I only see 3 of them. I need 4, don't I? 4 robots. Is that a robot? I think so. I think in Evangelion that's a robot. There's a candle. There's a camera. There's some film. Huh. It's not enough. There's another candle, which is just not a concentration of candles. Okay, I'm gonna go back this way. Also, I don't know where my friends are. They don't seem to be around here. Where's this light coming from? This, like, spotlight. Is it that? Maybe it's that. That rig. Okay, climbing back up here. Can I get in? Oh, yes, here we go. Okay, there's some friends. There's some friends. There's my 3 friends. Where's the penguin? Oh, wait, there's more people. Okay, but these are... Well, these 2 are definitely my friends. I don't think that's... Oh, yeah, that's definitely not. So this is my friend. Yeah? Yes. And... I still don't see the penguin. But there's more stuff around here. So, there is a camera. Are there more cameras? Those are tapes. 2 boom boxes. I need 4 boom boxes and 15 candles. Good lord. And a penguin. Is that the penguin up there? There we go. How do I get up there? Like this. Okay. I can get 3 people in the shot from here. I mean, I can get 2 people and a penguin. If I go over here, then I can get everybody, I think, with a wider lens. Yeah, I think that's everyone. Let's try that. No. About from... Oh, no. No, I lost. How about from here? It doesn't like... Okay, that's fair. Hubert, I'm gonna save that until we'll do some Q&A at the end of this. That's a great question. Huh. Huh. I feel like I need to be over here, maybe? Okay, this seems promising. There's the penguin. There's a dancing guy, though. Okay. Like, I can't get everybody even on the same screen. That's not gonna work. And from down here, I cannot see everybody over there. Okay, alright. This is a tough one. I also don't... Oh, there it is. There's the postcard spot. Stuck. Geometry. Okay, so, let me get up there. Get up there. Oh, this is what I should be looking for. Is the HA maybe, and a smiley. Yeah, there it is. Let me get a telephoto. No. More like this. How's that? Postcard shot. Okay, sweet. I did one thing. Yay. I mean, are there just candles sort of around? If I take a picture from... If I take a... Can I just stand here, please? No, I can't. If I take a fisheye picture... Okay, 15 candles and 4 boomboxes, but also some little jellyfish things. Okay. Alright, what else is on my list? 2 skateboards. Blocks. What are the blocks? Skateboard. The constraint about not taking pictures of blue bottles, blue whatevers, I think is really interesting. I feel like I can have quite a bit of success without paying attention to it, and so that is sort of, you know, that's what my strategy is. And I almost wish that it was more important to sort of like how I play, or how I would play. Okay, no, that's not my fisheye. That's my fisheye. Oh, I can get everybody! Heck yeah! Well, let's do that then. Okay, good. Skateboards, blocks, disposable cameras, robots. And then again, can I... maybe from further back or up higher? Disposable camera. Two disposable cameras right here. Love to see that. No? No good? Don't like that? Oh, That's, what is that? 2 disposable cameras with a telephoto. Okay, can do that. Hey, penguin. I'm gonna stand... No, I'm not. I'm gonna stand up. Oh, dang it. I mean, is that enough? Yeah, okay, that counts. What about from up here? Yeah, 4 robots. No, that doesn't count. Was that not all 4 robots? Is that... Maybe that's the angel. There are 3 robots over here facing off against a kaiju, against a monster. In which case... 4 robots. I wonder what that means. Because that guy does look kind of different. Oh yeah, that looks more evil. Whereas these guys look more robot-y. They got big things jutting out of their backs and like antennas on their heads. Okay. So I've only got 3 robots. So where's the 4th robot? And what are the blocks? Oh, these blocks? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 blocks there? And then 2... Maybe like... let's see. What is that? 2 work lights and 5 blocks with... Not... oh, standard. With standard. Okay. I think it's this one. So 2 work lights and 5 blocks. Great. 3 lanterns and 2 skateboards. Oh, did I not? I didn't get my 2 skateboards. Right. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Oh, there's a lantern. I see. 1, 2, 3. How many do I need? 3 lanterns. Okay. 3 lanterns with the telephoto. Okay, for that, I'm gonna go over here. Because there's 1, 2, 3, right like that. Okay. Okay, 2 skateboards, 3 tires, and 4 pallets. How do I get... I mean, there's... Okay, so it can't be those 2 skateboards, I guess. Because there's no way for me to get a good angle on that. There's 1 skateboard. There's 2 skateboards. like this. And that looks terrible, objectively, but the computer will take it. Three tires and 4 pallets. So here's a tire, there's a pallet, there's a tire, there's a tire. There's a pallet up there somewhere. There's a pallet. There's a pallet. There's a tire. Pallet, pallet, pallet. Tire. Tire, tire. No, not even close. How about down here? Tire, pallet. I don't think this is gonna be great. Pallet, 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 tire, tire. Okay, this is promising. I need 3 tires and 4 pallets. I see 3 pallets, 4 counting that one in the back. I think this is gonna work. Whoa. Okay, and then just 4 robots. Okay, is there a 4th robot in the back? Whoops! Oh no! All of the graffiti in this scene, I feel like is much more colorful. Like, there's a lot more of it, but it's also more colorful than it was in the first time that we saw this, which is neat. That's like a mountain. Robot, robot, robot. Is there maybe another robot back there, you think? So, I wonder, can I walk out here? Not like that, I can't. But maybe like this? Yes, okay. So I can walk out here, and I don't see another robot there. Can't really go further. Okay, I'm gonna just try taking a picture of this and see how that goes. Nope, not really. Like, is there another robot behind him? Up in the sky? That's a plane. That's a dead plane. Yeah, it does seem like you shouldn't be able to see, or you shouldn't be able to hide a mech that size. Huh. Huh, interesting. Is one of you secretly a robot? Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do a fisheye, just to, from this vantage, like, if it's underwater, I don't know how else I could shoot it. No, I actually, so Caged Tiger, I have, I'm kind of obscuring it. Hold on, can I... Give me a second, I'm not set up to actually do this, but, so you can see in the bottom corner, I have 10 out of 24 shots. So every time I take a picture, I'm using one of my finite resource of shots. If I find another film canister somewhere in the level, and I have found 2 of 6, then that refills it to the cap. It goes back up to 24. So if I can look around for film, I have a lot of shots to play with, but it is a finite resource. I don't have an unlimited number. I actually get money every time I take a picture, even if it's a bad picture. I get a little bit of money. Oh, shit! That's a robot! That's a drawing of a robot. No... Heck yeah. Oh, heck yes. I'm gonna go with maybe this lens and do like that. Okay, well... Yes! 4 robots! Hell yes! I got it! Okay, sweet. And... I'm bad at finding the film canisters, I don't care that much. So I've done everything. Where is the exit? I wonder. Maybe down here? There it is. So blue bottle and shot. Now I'm losing 75 cents per shot, which is like, that makes sense. The first time that I did that, I was losing 10. Oh no! I think that's consistent. Okay, so that's just a consistent thing. And 75 cents is enough that, like, you know, my throwaway shots that where I'm making $1.73. That's a big chunk of that. You know, but a lot of these shots I'm making $16, right? Or at least $5 or $8, you know, something like that. And 75 cents is just, if my average is $3 or $4 or $5, 75 cents isn't enough of a penalty to make it, like, really significant. I am not gonna go through and do all of the speed runs. But, yes, let's go back and look at levels. It says next mission, so maybe I have another mission. Chromatic aberration is a red and blue color fringing, which occurs on images, technically seen as a problem for most photographers. But what if... am I wrong? Are there more levels? This looks like there's more levels. Okay. Cuber, yeah, I would want that, like, signaled a little bit ahead of time, but I agree that it would be cool if there were sort of increasing penalties for taking pictures of banned items. Am I on an alien planet? I'm guessing no, but I don't know where I am. Is this... Oh, I can walk on the water. Okay, I can walk on the water. Do I have stuff to do? No, I don't. This is not a normal mission. This is maybe an epilogue. And do I see people's souls leaving their bodies and floating up into the sky? And that looks bad. That looks bad. Okay, so here's some people. These are my friends. I see the universe through them. I think this is their faces, in fact. Okay. Took that picture. Achievement unlocked: generational warfare. I mean, I think it is definitely interesting. That is an interesting ending in conversation with the ending of Evangelion. I think I like it a lot. I think I like it a lot because it is a reference to the end of Evangelion and sort of suggestive of some of the stuff that happens at the end of Evangelion without being overdrawn or trying too hard to sort of like interpret the end of the anime. Dedicated to the Umurangi generation, the last generation who has to watch the world die. Interesting. I am going to say that without the context of Evangelion, I think that ending would have been incredibly frustrating. And it's actually really interesting that I feel like there's a parallel between how I would have responded emotionally to that ending without context and the way that I sort of emotionally respond to the ending of Evangelion, which is very similar to that in that it gets sort of really abstract and surreal without much explanation. And in the anime, that is frustrating because it doesn't serve as a satisfying resolution to the sort of the narrative that has led up to that point. In this piece, given the context, I feel like it does a really good job of sort of referencing and reflecting what happens in the anime. And I don't feel that sense of irresolution now that I understand what this game is actually trying to do. All right, let's take just a couple of minutes and go back and select a level. And I want to actually I want to go back to the beginning. I don't think that there's a lot for me to say about this, but it will be interesting actually to see it immediately after the last level. So, okay, kind of speedrunning this. Here's my group. It includes the penguin. What else do I have to do? Markers, Union Jack, the word mix, disposable camera, 7 birds, the mountain, and boombox. Well, there's a boombox. No, that wasn't a boombox? Oh, 2 boombox. Whoops. I'm just curious to see, like, what does speedrunning this feel like? Now that I've said several times I'm not going to speedrun this. No? That's it. Okay. Markers, Union Jack, the word mix. I don't remember where the word mix was. I think I came up here and took pictures of birds. What was that? Those are planes. Okay. I'm certain that that happened the first time and I didn't recognize it. This is indeed a wall that's sort of holding back the sea. Okay, here's some markers. Union Jack, the word mix. You know what? I think I actually just stood... I can't remember how I got the 7 birds. How do I get back up there? Whoops. Jester, let's come back to that question. That's kind of an interesting question, I think. Okay, 2 boomboxes. Wasn't somebody wearing a Union Jack? I feel like that was like a whole thing the first time. No? I guess somebody was wearing an American flag in a different level. Is that enough birds? That's enough birds. Great. Mix Union Jack and the mountain. Wasn't the mountain like graffiti? Also, this is very colorful graffiti. I was misremembering. It's not dying, it's just neon. No, that doesn't count. Huh, okay. Mix Union Jack. A lot of this graffiti is actually the same. I thought that it changed more at the end. Where's the word mix? Oh, it was on paint. That's right. There's a Union Jack. Maybe? But not there. Let's see. Also not there. Huh. Where did it say mix anywhere? Mix cassette tape. Thank you. Let's see. 90s. Shut up. Of course. Yeah, there we go. And now just the mountain. Huh. Where the heck was the mountain? I'm almost certain. Okay. There we go. There's the mountain. Is that not everything? Is that everything? Except for $130. So, okay, yep, great. This level is also a lot easier now that I know that I can double jump. So, I got a speedrunner achievement. That feels good.
Congratulations.
I don't think that... Oh, and I get new equipment. So equipment isn't locked to levels, it's locked to, like, experience or something. Oh, no, I take it back. This is the lens that I got last time. Okay. So, that one is pretty straightforward. These are just, sort of... people hanging out in this world. This is sort of the relationship between normal people and the UN. All civilians must check in. But this is sort of what the military presence looks like to people who aren't piloting giant robots. Which makes sense. It's kind of ad hoc. There's a lot of equipment, but not a lot of infrastructure. But it's manned by probably a combination of UN and non-UN folks, frankly. So that was another big thing, a big revelation to me from the first couple of minutes of the anime, is that the sort of like role in the cultural imagination that the UN had in a future projected from 1995 is very different from the role that the UN has in cultural imagination in 2020. 2020 is when this game came out. And that felt sort of like weird and disconnected to me. Like, why are these... It seems a little strange to have UN troops with this kind of branded material in 2020. I don't think that the world works that way anymore. But in 1995, I think you could imagine that that's how the world would work in 10 years. And I think that in the context of Evangelion, where all of the military is UN, and there's sort of like indications that it is a multilateral force that's sort of banded together and all nations are contributing to it. The UN actually has a presence that is more like a global military. It is, it is the military force of the world that has very specifically been sort of organized and built up to operate against extraterrestrial threats. So that actually makes a lot more sense. Sort of the UN presence and the relationship that people have with the UN, the UN sort of abandoning areas. I think a bunch of stuff is very cool. So this is kind of like, this is an undercity. This is a sort of I think that this gave me refugee vibes before, and I think it still does. So most of the anime takes place in Tokyo 3, which is a sort of planned city that that the characters live in. The fact that, you know, we've got our characters here suggests to me that, like, this all probably takes place in a city like Tokyo 3. And Tokyo 3 sustains damage over the course of the show. And we don't see people who live there very much. We see very little of, like, you know, where do people hang out, and what do they do? And I think this is really interesting as a companion piece. Like, this is a companion piece to Evangelion. You know, this suggestion of this is what it looks like where people gather. And a lot of what they do is mourn the dead, frankly. Like, that being a... that works better, I think, as an answer to that specific question, right? So if we're framing this the way that I was thinking about it as... what is the world that we're in, and what are the things that sort of define the world that we're in? All of this kind of takes on a certain kind of color, a certain kind of meaning. The fact that there's so much memorializing of people, all of these lit candles, all of that stuff. Like, that sort of has a certain meaning, but I feel like that meaning changes a little bit. Gone but never forgotten. When instead of sort of trying to define a world, this level, I think, is trying to answer a question of what do people do when they're just hanging out? What do people do in their free time in this particular world that is overrun by the military response to giant monsters that have been on the horizon for 15 years, I think. The anime came out in 1995. It takes place in 2015. And in the lore of the anime, there's an event that I think takes place around 2000. So 15 years ago, a third of the population of the world died, and it sort of was foretold that monsters were going to come in 15 years. So the world has been building up for 15 years, waiting for these giant monsters to come. And in that context, right, this is a city that was built. These are people who have lived for 15 years waiting for now. And now they are living through these sort of events where globally there's a huge focus on the military response to giant existential threat. And they still have to live here, right? Ultimately, that's what this game becomes about, is the people who still have to live here. The Umurangi generation, the generation that lives through the events of this sort of end of the world. Okay, let's look at a couple more of these, and then we're going to move on to just some Q&A. We'll see how many questions there are, but I've rambled a lot today about sort of personal revelations about Evangelion, so I apologize to people who are having to sort of go through that journey with me. Right? So this is the same thing. This is also in conversation with that question, how do these people live their lives? Because we don't see that in the show. And I think this is the other side of it. Some of it is kind of depressing and bleak and sorrowful and grieving. And some of it is, you know, affirming and bright and dancing in the streets and you know, gaming shops and things like that, fast cars, and, you know, of course, a military presence. But the military presence here is not meant to be building the world. It's meant to be sort of placing us within the world that we're supposed to be in, which totally makes sense. And I think that makes sense of these characters who don't really tell much of a story on their own. Like, it's hard to read much into who are these folks, what are they doing here, but that's actually not what the game is concerned with. Like, these are the faceless UN soldiers that we see. This is a, like, UN scientist kind of a person, somebody who might be closer to a named character from the show, frankly, than anybody else. The focus of the level is on these people, obviously. Because again, it's not... Sorry, I'm still grappling with this. I'm still trying to sort of reprocess all of this. It's not trying to build a world. It's trying to answer this question of how do these people, these particular people, these sort of just your normal citizens, how do they live in this world? Really interesting how much changing that framing for me really changes the way that I encounter and understand the game. Huh. I want to look at the subway again, I think. And let's see. Contact, I think, is what it is. This was my least favorite level. And I think it still is. But I think that's the level design largely. Like, it's kind of a constrained area, and I like that. I don't feel like the game can't support constrained areas, but I feel like we spent way too much time in this constrained area, and that is down to the design of these. Mostly that flashing red light, which sucked. All the rest of this was not that bad. 5 American flags was tricky to do, but not impossible. 20 sticky notes was easy. 3 sauce and 3 cereal, I think, was pretty straightforward. 2 coffee and 1 downlight was easy to do, I just didn't understand what downlight meant. And so I think that, like, I worried and wondered about that. And then the seagulls are easy once you get out of the train. So I think it's just the flashing red light, and maybe I misunderstand the way that I was supposed to approach that, but I found that sort of like ridiculous, and really that really hampered this level. Is the whole world shaking more than it did before, or is that how it always has been? Maybe that's how it always has been. I didn't call it out before, and maybe I didn't notice it quite as much, but that frankly might also contribute to this level feeling aggravating. But I think that this is also kind of the heart of the game in some ways. Not necessarily this level, but this level is getting at, you know, this is exactly the kind of thing that had to happen in the story that the anime told. But the anime did not show. It did not show commuters trying to get from place to place on a train where they look out and the ocean is red and there are like giant robots. So I think that this is like meaningful. I still don't really get the American thing, but I think that's meaningful as like a I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of. It might actually be synecdoche. Like that level embodies what the game as a whole is trying to do. Because it's such a sort of like quiet and aside sort of a level. It really drives home this idea of this is a game about spending time with people who are not the main characters in the moments where they are being themselves rather than doing anything interesting. Okay, let's look at the subway one more time. I think the way that I'm reading this now, and this is not an Evangelion thing especially, is that this is an evacuation. And I think maybe Evangelion does help with that, just because evacuation is a thing that happens in the show. I don't know that I recognized this as that. I also, just to comment on this thing, the sort of like parasite viral component, contagion component of it, that is not something that appears in the show in a like director specific way. And I kind of wonder. No, it can't be. I mean, I guess it could be. I wonder if that is specifically a response to 2020, to the COVID pandemic. This game came out, I think, over the summer. I should double check that. I would not think that this would have been put in at the last minute, but it could have. It would help explain why it's really only this level. Like, obviously, this could get put in at the last minute. That's not a big deal. This maybe was structured slightly differently as lines. May 19th. Thank you, Qbert. So May 19th... I mean, it's pushing it, depending on how much QA they did. I'm curious about that question. Because it frankly doesn't need to be that much. It's just maybe respacing these people slightly and putting the X's down and then putting this poster in, and all of a sudden this feels very relevant to today in a way that it wouldn't have otherwise. And there's a bounty on... No, there's not. There's no bounty on this area. So actually, they could have done that. They could have done that pretty straightforward way. That this was just more traditional lines in front of a desk, and they space them out and put X's 6 feet apart. Because the X's aren't really 6 feet apart either. So maybe they did. That's interesting. That's an interesting question. But I also care less, right? Like, this as a plot point of, like, there's a virus or a contagion or a parasite. I was trying to read a lot into that when it seemed like it was the game was trying to build a world, and this feels like, you know, clearly this is a significant part of that world building. Now I feel like it's just it feels very secondary. Yeah, okay, there's also a contagion thing going on, or maybe they think there is, or they're worried about it. Like, that's part of the life that they are living. I don't need to read into what does that say about the attack on the world, because that's not the point. Again, it's like, it's weird to me how... Yeah, I think it's just me. It's wild how different this game feels in the context of the show, as opposed to without it. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's do some Q&A.